deck box, and we're going to be taking a look at a deck again. This one will be a, well, you know what? I'll let him explain on his own. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, my name's Tom, and today I'm going to talk about my modded Graveborn set. Graveborn came out recently. It's a bit of a legacy deck, came out just in November, and I'll explain a bit of the strategy of what I used to modify it a bit to make it work a little better, and show you how everything works. So pretty much this deck basically revolves around throwing stuff in your graveyard and then taking it out without paying the mana cost. The only thing that you gotta pay mana for is the spell card used to take it out. And pretty much what I used in this deck was I took out a few of the cards that came with it, and in turn I threw in a Shieldred the Whispering One, Prince of Thralls, Jin, Vornclicks, a Chroma Angel of Wrath, Ray of Dawnbringer, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Another thing I guess you could say was another Exhume and the Dark Rituals. So pretty much the way this works is the ideal first hand would be, say you had a few lands to spare, you had a Dark Ritual, and you had a Buried Alive. So Buried Alive, what that does is you search your library for 3 creature cards, you toss them into your library, or not in your library, your graveyard.
Which becomes your library.
Pretty much, yeah. And that's only a cost of 3. So what you want to do is throw down your black mana, your swamp, play a Dark Ritual, play Buried Alive, and just to make the game go fairly fast, you want Shieldred the Whispering One, Prince of Thralls, and pretty much any other situational cards. Me personally, I'd prefer Jin. What he would do is he would limit your opponent's hand size down, so that way they're pretty much just top decking and reducing their chances of countering your spells and sending them back to your hand, your creature cards back to your hand, which is what you do not want.
And in fact, since you're playing it so early game, chances are they don't have any mana to play with anyways, even if they do get a spell in their hand.
Exactly. And so that would take you to second turn, and by that time you got your good creatures in your graveyard and your opponent doesn't have any. So hopefully what you would want to play that turn would be an Exhume. And that's a 2 cost, and what that does is each player chooses a creature card from their graveyard and puts them onto the battlefield. So pretty much, say for instance your opponent has nothing, I got 3 good creatures in, I'd want to throw out a Shieldred. So that way, by turn 3, I'd be able to bring a creature out of my graveyard, and they would have to sacrifice a creature on the beginning of their turn.
If they had one.
If they had one. And so, say it's turn 3, and what I would do then is I would bring out Prince of Thralls, and this is a really good combo right here because what Prince of Thralls does is whenever an opponent were to put a creature card or a card from the battlefield into the graveyard, that card, instead of going into the graveyard, would go onto your side of the battlefield under your control, unless your opponent pays 3 life. So either way, something's going to hurt your opponent really bad. Either they pay the 3 life to keep their creature in the graveyard, or you take their creature and use it against them. And that's my biggest favorite combo in this deck right now, because you're pretty much getting 2 creatures out per turn. Another thing you could do too is use the Ray of Dawnbringer as well as these other 2 cards, because this one is kind of like a half Shieldred. What this card does is at the beginning of your upkeep, you bring a creature card from your graveyard onto the battlefield. So
at that point, you'd be bringing out 2 every turn if you wanted to.
2 every turn plus whatever your opponent sacrifices.
Yeah.
So that in and of itself is very deadly. And then just for filler or situational purposes, of course, Jin, your opponent has no hand size and you constantly have have a handful of 7 cards. One of my absolute favorites, a Chroma Angel of Wrath, is flying for strike, vigilance, trample, haste, protection from black and protection from red, and she's a 6/6. She can be quite evil, especially playing against those colors. It would almost render their decks completely useless.
If they weren't already completely useless, yeah.
And then you got Inkwell Leviathan. He has Island Walk, Trample, Shroud. And this guy as well, Testradon. He's also fun. He makes things go boom and puts tokens out. The Sphinx of Steel Wind, he's almost like another Chroma Angel of Wrath because he has flying for strike, vigilance, lifelink, and protection from red and green. He's also a 6/6. Blazing Archon is when you're in a bit of a pinch and your opponent is getting way too many creatures out for some reason. What his ability is creatures can't attack you. Plain and simple. They cannot attack you. So
basically, the core of this is just to get those creatures out to begin with, and then if you ever had a problem after that, you have all these other guys here who are pretty much overkill at that point.
Exactly. I highly recommend putting the Praetors from the Phyrexia series in here. They will just help you out immensely and completely crush your opponent, especially since you can get them all out so early in the game, all at once.
Make them cry man tears, or possibly if they're women, woman tears. Either way.
Either way. The only thing else I can really say is definitely invest in Dark Rituals. I just need one more to make a complete set of 4. Exhumes are really good. Reanimates, or Animate Deads rather. And of course, Reanimate, which is just a 1 cost to put a creature card from the graveyard onto the battlefield. The only downside of that card is that it damages you as well. So that's pretty much the Graveborn deck. It's pretty evil and definitely fun to play with. So if you're facing somebody that just never lets you win, have a go at this, try it out, have fun.
Alright, well thanks a lot, Tom.
No problem.
And this was the Deck Box. Thanks a lot for watching, and roll for choice. Deck Tech video this week, and we're going to have visitors coming in for it, of course, and we'll start again.